Yo, I had a lot of background noise, but you can just see this is all my components that I put into my PC. Pretty good build all around. Nothing too crazy. 4070. A budget build, but not a budget build at the same time. And here's the case out of the box. You can see the default fans. We're about to change that up, having this thing looking right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So as you can see right here, we're taking away the default fans since I bought RGB fans. So you got to take 4 little screws out. You kind of want to wiggle them, get them a little loose before you take everyone out. So wiggle, loosen them, get them right, take them out, and then take your time with it. Take it out the back. You don't want to mess it up because you never know, you might need it in the long run. So take that fan, put it somewhere where you know you'll have it for the next time. And then once you get it out, I mean, you're good to go, man. All right, so as you can see, we already got 1 RGB fan in. We still got 2 more to go, so we're about to put the second one in. But shout out my dad. He's really good with cable management, so we already had the cables, so he can go ahead and just make sure everything looks all clean. So he's going to do that, tighten it up really good, make sure there's nothing hanging loose or anything like that, so it looks nice and clean. And here's the final product. We managed to get all 3 RGB fans in, no problem. So as you can see, it looks pretty good. We already uninstalled the back fan. It came with one. I should have showed that in the video. That's my bad. But we already took it out. So now we're just putting the other one that I got up there, screwing it in, make sure it's nice and secure. And I mean, after that, the fans are pretty much good to go. Besides the CPU cooler, this really is all we had to do for the fans. Quick note, you want to make sure when you're putting the screws in to make sure you do them all loose, and then you tighten them as you go, because you don't want to put one really tight and have one really loose and then make it kind of lopsided. So just a quick tip. But I mean, as you can see, putting all 4 screws in and then good to go. Fans are done. All right, so here's the scary part, man. Putting in the CPU, you got to be really careful with this, because if you put it in lopsided or wrong, you can bend pins, and if you bend pins, GG's in the chat. Your PC's cooked. So, I mean, just be careful with this. This is a really important step. Just take your time and watch videos. Hit it with that final little switch. Did we do something wrong? So right here, we got the RAM done. We got the CPU done. The last thing we have to do is install the storage. I got 2 terabytes of storage. I'd recommend getting a lot of storage because of clips and games and all that kind of stuff. All right, so before you put the storage in, you got to unscrew it, pull it out of its little tab, and then once you pull it out of the tab, you just slip the storage in, and you should be all good to go.
This is supposed to be sticky.
Isn't that heatsink?
I'm sure it is.
He said heatsink. You missed it.
That's what?
The socket you're supposed to put it on.
No, I did not.
Notice how he didn't screw it in?
Because that one didn't have a screw in. God damn.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Man, I hope you got a laugh out of that last portion. I'm laughing so hard just watching that back. But this portion right here, so as you can see, when I got this off rip, it had the wrong pieces in. So you're going to have to trade out the pieces so it'll fit. Because off rip, it's made for an Intel. But I have an AMD, so I switched it. And you see how I get the thumbs up? You just switch it over, put it on your motherboard, and then you should be all good to go. Same thing here. So these little brackets, you have to take them out. If you have an Intel, you can leave them. But if you have an AMD, a Ryzen CPU, then you're going to need to take these out because that's the only way it'll fit in. So take those out, twist out, or replace the pieces that are on the CPU cooler, and then you just put that on top of there, and you should be all set, man. And then I did this just so you can kind of get an example, so you can see now that it'll lay flat. But if I would have did it before, it did not look right. So just make sure you take the brackets off and then you replace the brackets on the actual CPU cooler if you have a Ryzen or an AMD type of CPU. Just because you want to be careful and you want to make sure you don't use the wrong thing. As you can see, we took both brackets out. Good to go. I'm about to give you the thumbs up. Yes, sir. And now we just take that bad boy, put them in, screw them in. I mean, after that, man, it's pretty much good to go. So as you can see, the two fans, that's the actual CPU cooler. We got the motherboard. We got all the fans in. The case is pretty much good to go. We just got a couple things left, and we're good. When building your PC, you want to make sure you have an open space because you might have a mess like this. It was a struggle. Let me know in the comments below, W or L PC. All right, if you have this motherboard right here, you'll notice that the power switch is not there. So they only have a reset switch. So if you want to take the time, you can just take this bad boy right here and you can just plug in all the different things into this, and then you plug that into this bottom piece right here, and then that way you can use your power switch to work. So if you don't do that, your PC won't turn on. And I've looked all over YouTube, there's no videos on it. So if you need help, I'd recommend watching this video and just kind of checking it out, because reset is right here. As you can see, the two little prongs. But you need, the reset really doesn't matter if you can't turn your PC on. So just make sure you have this little piece right here and make sure you plug it in correctly and then plug it into here. And if you do that, you should be all good to go. Actually, like that. Stand clean. And we're at the final part of the PC, man. We got everything in, the RAM, the storage, the CPU cooler, the fans. I mean, everything's done. Now it's just the GPU. See my pops, he's locked in. He's going crazy. He put it in. Once you snap it into the port, you want to make sure you're holding it. I was holding it for him. You want to make sure you just screw it in well. Make sure you don't want to put it too tight because you don't want to bend anything, but you want to make sure it's tight. It's not going to go anywhere. And then, I mean, after that, make sure it's all plugged in and you should be all good to go. Cable management kind of went crazy. It sucks that I had to take my PC to Best Buy and they had to tweak it a little bit, because the cable management before it went to Best Buy, look at that. Clean as hell. Yes, sir. You know I got to save the best for last. After this, I'm going to show you me turning on my PC for the very first time. First reaction and everything. But it's looking pretty good. Big shout out to my dad. He helped me with all the cable management. I'm overall happy with my first PC. I feel like it came out pretty well. And as you're about to see in a minute, there was a fat mess all over the kitchen table, so be prepared for the mess because it was no joke. So I can always like cut it up a little bit. Right. Wait, no, hold on. We're good. That's good. That's good. I'm sure it's...
Now you have to push the button, I thought.
Oh. Yo. Yes, sir. So the first two videos before were kind of just showing like the process. The first two boot ups weren't the best, but as you can see right here, perfect, man. That thing got the RGB going. It has that one red light and one way once I plugged it in. But besides that, I mean, this is basically the build, man. I appreciate y'all watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the build. I'm loving it so far.